This video is brought to you by Fanco. The first dark horse who can make a run at the national championships is Bryce Andonian of Virginia Tech. This 149-pounder has only 3 losses this season, and 2 of them are to the number 2 seed, Tariq Wilson. The other one is from last year's national finalist, Sammy Sasso. Not 2 bad losses to have on your resume. Andonian is the number 11 seed and actually made the round of 12 last year. Now, should he advance past the first 2 rounds, which isn't a given, I'm hoping that he runs into Austin Gomez. And again, that's not even a given that Gomez is going to make those quarterfinals. But the reason I want them to meet is because of their styles. It's just anything goes. They're throwing everything at the wall to try to score points on their opponent. And those two wrestling against each other would just explode the arena with excitement. And let's say he wins that, advances to the semifinals, and then faces Tariq Wilson again. Well, anything goes when momentum is in your favor. So who are the other dark horses that you need to watch out for this year? Let's stop stalling and start talking wrestling. What's going on, wrestling fans? My name's Josiah, and welcome to Fanco Wrestling, your source for college wrestling news and discussion. And are you as psyched for the college wrestling championships as I am? If you are, I'm going to hit you with a Fanco 5 dark horses you got to watch out for. So a dark horse that I'm defining it as is a guy who isn't necessarily in the spotlight. He doesn't have a lot of notoriety, and oftentimes he's going to be seated outside of the top 8. And actually, all of these guys on the list are, with the exception of one. And that is the next guy up on this list, Wyatt Hendrickson, the number 5 seed out of Air Force. Yes, he is a heavyweight, and no, I'm not saying that he's going to beat Gabriel Stevenson if he runs into him in the semifinals, but I'm saying that you need to watch out because he's a serious threat to make the stand. Although he's the number 5 seed, he hasn't received much notoriety this year. He's one of those few guys who is undefeated, 24-0, and oh yeah, he has 16 pins this year. That doesn't impress you enough? Well, this heavyweight is the lead pinner in all of the NCAA. While I don't necessarily think Hendrickson has a big name right now, if he does beat a big name or somebody with a big name school on their chest, let's say Greg Kirkfleet in the quarterfinals, then he's going to be put into the spotlight. And I'll tell you what, I'm expecting Hendrickson to hit a clean pin on somebody. Now, speaking of clean, I have a question for you. Does your skin feel clean? Like, seriously, if you're using traditional scented soap, did you know that you're wearing that residue on you all day? Ugh, that's nasty, and that's how I used to be. But after using Defense soap products, I noticed a difference and a super clean feel. What's great is their soap products wash off completely and even help to prevent skin infection like dry skin, impetigo, ringworm, and acne. But what's even better is they're a wrestler-owned business, and their products are made in America. If you're ready to let your skin breathe and feel healthier, then go to defensesoap.com and enter code FANCO for 15% off your first order. The third dark horse is actually a wrestler from my high school. Although he's a few years below me, he is at 174 pounds wrestling for Purdue, and that is Garrett Ninehouse. Now, if you're looking at his Big Ten Championships performance, you may be a little bit underwhelmed, but let me explain to you why I think he's a dark horse. First of all, I think his spot in the bracket can really set him up for success if he capitalizes on it. So Garrett is the number 25 seed and will wrestle Drexel's Mike O'Malley first round. Although he lost to him earlier this season, a lot can change from the beginning of the year until this point in the year. The next match, if he wins that one, he'll likely face Mikey Labriola of Nebraska. Uh-oh, that's a tough one, you say. Oh yeah, but Garrett actually beat him this year, and he really shocked a lot of the wrestling world when he did that. Let's say he repeats, beats Labriola again, and advances to the next round. Who does he have? Ooh, the number 1 seed, Carter Starachi, assuming no upsets happen at that point. That's going to be a tough one, but these two did wrestle in high school. They actually have a history. They wrestled in the Power 8 finals and the PIAA championships. They've wrestled each other multiple times, and oftentimes, those are the guys that are toughest to beat when you know how their styles are from growing up. Now, if he does pull off those crazy upsets, or even one of them, I think he's at least looking for a podium finish in such a tough weight. That means we have 2 dark horses left, and the next one is Yonger Bastida, the 197-pounder from Iowa State. He's the number 10 seed, and looking at the bracket, I think he's actually in a pretty good position. Yonger is one of 2 national qualifiers with a hometown outside of the U.S. Well, now he calls Iowa State home, and the Iowa State fans love him. If we're going off of seed and he beats Braxton Amos of Wisconsin in the first round, he's going to go on to face Rocky Elam, who he's already beat twice this year. If he does pull off another win over Elam, he's probably going to go on to face Stephen Buchanan of Wyoming. Now, I think Buchanan is a tough wrestler. He actually pinned Yonger at the Big 12 championships. But the one thing that you may be overlooking is they wrestled earlier this season when Younger took Buchanan, the number 2 seed, into sudden victory. While he did lose, it was a sudden victory loss. And what you may be forgetting is that earlier this season, Younger actually beat Jacob Warner of Iowa. He thrives off that energy. And I think if you see him start pulling off these upsets, you're going to see him come alive and just make the stadium love him. Now, after I reveal my number 1 dark horse, I have a very special offer for you if you enjoy wrestling stats. So stick around for that. So who is my number 1 dark horse? Well, let me ask you a question. When's the last time you heard the name Austin O'Connor? Yes, he's last year's national champion at 149 pounds, but I don't think he's got a lot of media attention this year. He lost at the beginning of the season to Peyton Robb, and then kind of with UNC's rough schedule this year, they wrestled a little bit more, went like a month without wrestling, wrestled a few dual meets, then went essentially another month without wrestling, where you didn't hear a lot about Austin O'Connor until the ACC championships when he just recently lost to Ed Scott. And you may be thinking maybe Austin O'Connor's on the downgrade, considering he majored Ed Scott just the year previous, and this year he lost to him. I think actually the opposite is true, and that Ed Scott is on the upgrade, and also O'Connor's still a tough, hard-nosed wrestler. But the good news is that either way, Ed Scott is on the opposite side of the bracket from the number 11 seed Austin O'Connor. Austin O'Connor has a couple things going for him heading into this weekend. First of all, he's a returning national champion, so he's been there before. Second of all, I think he has a pretty good spot in the bracket, even at the number 11 seed. And third of all, he's got the luck of the Irish on his side during St. Paddy's Day weekend. And even last year, when he had no major regular season wins going into the national championships, he still found a way to pull it off. Now, are you looking for even more dark horses? I actually included 1 dark horse per weight in my postseason primer. You can check out who I think are the biggest underdogs, as well as team scoring projections, bracket analysis, and my thoughts and opinions on the college wrestling championships in 50+ pages right here. Or if you want to check out another video on the national championships, you can watch this below.